Hello.
Good evening. Here we are again.
We're back. We had a few days off, and I kind of missed this, didn't you?
I did, but I also had time to forget everything I know. How's the tour been going?
Pretty swell so far, it seems. The other night in Hershey certainly was wonderful. Some tour debuts, some unexpected tunes, an off the set list inclusion of Miles Davis's Milestones, for example, and the Mighty Quinn as an encore. The band just continues to fire on all cylinders. And tonight they are, wait, first perhaps we should introduce ourselves. I'm Gary Lambert, and that fellow over there is David Gans. And this is Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. It's our, well, actually, the halftime show is Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. This is just our little introduction. Yeah, figured out which way to point is one of the little tricks of web communication, because you're not looking in a mirror, so it doesn't look the same. Anyway, but we'll figure all this out as we go along. This is what we do just before the band comes on, and then at halftime we'll be back with a very special guest, the president of Rhino Records, Mark Pinkus, old friend of ours, big DeadHead before he was a record company executive, and now he runs the record company that puts out all of the Grateful Dead's archival releases. What a sweet gig. And we look forward to talking to him.
Very much so, yeah. And of course, right now what we're doing is hawking the Nugsnet live stream. If you're looking at this as the free sample of Dead and Company, you get the first song here. If you enjoy it, you can go to livedead.co and sign up to buy today's stream and or the whole rest of the tour. And there are various things. You can subscribe to nugs.net audio feeds and get access to the entire Dead and Company archive going back to 2016. And then we'll be back also before set two. They also give away the beginning of set two to entice you to purchase the stream. And we'll be doing our interview with Mark in between sets on this program that we call Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. And that will be attached to the set two preview that appears permanently on YouTube. So you can go to youtube.com/nugsnet and see all of the interviews we've done so far. And if you're watching this, and you're thinking of buying the Nugsnet stream, bear in mind that you have 48 hours to watch the whole thing as many times as you want to, and you can go back and watch the first set. But we'll remind you of that before set two, because right now you have an opportunity to buy the whole damn thing.
And right now, we're waiting for the band to take the stage. We hear that they were taking some time to make sure all the people got into the venue. Tonight, we are at home, but they are in Mansfield, Massachusetts, about 40 miles south of Boston, I believe. Boston, a town with an incredibly long and rich Grateful Dead history. The Dead played there many times from almost the very beginning of their touring career in 1967, playing such venues as the Ark and the Psychedelic Supermarket and the Boston Tea Party. Boston Tea Party has the distinction of being the only place the Grateful Dead ever played a New Year's show outside of the Bay Area. And then they moved up to bigger venues, great shows at the Boston Music Hall, and then into Boston Garden. And of course, Dead and Company, and as all of the post-Grateful Dead bands have carried on that tradition, Dead and Company have hit the Boston area a bunch of times, including some very memorable shows at Fenway Park. Talk about an iconic venue. So we're looking forward to another great show tonight at this venue, which has been through several corporate namings, but Deadheads will keep calling it Great Woods forever, I think. A lot of
currently known as the Xfinity Center, I believe.
That's correct. Yes.
It's very strange announcing the names of venues that have names like Smoothie King Arena and stuff like that. It's quite weird.
Yes,
I have to say.
Anything named after Sleep Train is always very amusing to me. You'd think that maybe it's a venue exclusively for Kenny G and people like that, but no, a lot of good bands play there too. Anyway, so a little snark never hurt anyone. But
I might have
anyway,
mine at the My Pillow Amphitheater, but we haven't got there yet.
In Leavenworth, Kansas, I believe. But anyway, we are moving on, waiting for the band to take the stage. And this is always the part of the show where we have to vamp because you never quite know when all the band members are going to be on stage and ready to go. And as we said, they're trying to accommodate all the audience, get everyone to their seats or onto the lawn or whatever. But in the meantime, we are here. We're doing this every night of the tour, as David mentioned, and really excited about what's to come. We'll be here at Mansfield again tomorrow, and then some other great venues coming up in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, once again, we'll remind you that this is Nugs.net bringing you the live stream of Dead & Company from Mansfield, Massachusetts. And if you're watching the free preview, we encourage you to enjoy it. And we also encourage you to consider buying the whole stream. You can subscribe to the whole tour if you're into it. And the shows have been terrific. The coverage of the shows, the visuals, the sound have been spectacular. Kudos to the whole crew that puts all this together. And we'll be experiencing that in just a few minutes, we trust.
And you can download audio-only programs as well from Nugs.net. They have an immense library of live stuff going back more than 20 years now. But I wanted to mention, there was an online forum the other day where people were sort of snarking about me and Gary having to do this thing of babbling incoherently while we fill time until the band takes a stage. And I didn't defend myself in there because you can't defend yourself against that sort of thing. But I did think that if we took ourselves any more seriously here, we'd get heckled for that too. So basically we can't win. So we're just going to keep doing what we do.
Right. And as always, we just have to clear the low bar of being more entertaining than a graphic that says, please stay tuned. So, bear with us, folks. We're doing the best we can to meet that goal.
They knew exactly who to call.
That's right. If we get a wave of please stay tuned nostalgists, hoping for the good old days, I don't know what to say, but
it
anyway,
in fact, I'm guessing that on the particular forum I'm referring to, that will be posted before the night is out.
Maybe we'll start a please stand by hashtag or something for fans of that. But anyway, we are awaiting a signal. We have this system of getting little alerts on our handheld devices here as to when the band is getting closer. Oh, now they're aiming for 7:20. So that's only 3 minutes away.
Oh my God. Oh, good. Well, I want to talk about the audio downloads, because one of the great conveniences of Nugsnet is that the morning after the show, I can go over to my Nugster app and download high-res audio of the show, which is really helpful to me in my production of a nationally syndicated radio show that uses this music. But it's also, you civilians would also find that really helpful as well. You can download the shows in any of a number of audio formats, MP3s if you have a storage-sensitive device, and 2496 if you want the super high-end great quality. I think you have the HD there. I'm not sure now that I think about it. But there are HD downloads available of lots of music at Nugsnet. I'm not sure if this particular tour is available in that form because I haven't checked. But it's amazing to have almost instantaneous access to the audio files of the tour as it goes on.
Right. And if you're not into downloading, if you have the streaming subscription, it's right there on your phone automatically, or whatever device you listen to music on. And you can be listening to tonight's show at some point, I think quite early tomorrow. It's really, as Homer Simpson has often said, what a world we live in.
I have a friend who's in the audience out there tonight who said he was going to be watching us on his phone before, watching the Dead Airstream in the house between sets too. So I guess it's there. It's on YouTube. It's on Nugs. You can watch the show. You can watch our interviews from right there in the middle of the arena if you're so inclined. I personally would go around and talk to actual living people near me instead and watch the feed later, but that's just me.
Well, it's been really great. Oop, lights. Showtime.
Yay!
Bye.
We'll see you at break time. Well, the consensus in my living room was that was a damn fine set, and I have 4 votes.
Do you mean the cats as well? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, say again. I missed that. Say again.
I said, does that consensus in the living room include your cats?
No, the cats did not vote. They were busy playing together in the tube. But Blair and Regan are here, and they both liked it very much too. We all think that having the 4 days off was very good for the band. It refreshed all of their energies, and they came back to an already excellent tour with a new level of engagement.
Sounds like a sound theory to me. Anyway, let's run down that set list before we bring in our guest. But first, let's tell you this is Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. I'm Lambert. Over yonder is Gans, and right, exactly. And what this is the halftime show. This is where we fill some time while we're waiting for the band to come back, and you get to watch it either for free as part of the free preview of set 2, or if you're really smart, you have purchased or you will purchase the stream. All of our viewers are smart. I didn't mean to imply a value judgment there. But if you really want to see the whole show, you can get it from nugs.net. And even if you missed the first set, you can go back and watch it, and then watch it for about 48 hours or so after the show has transpired. And we also encourage you to look into subsequent shows on the tour. If they're all as good as this one, they're all worth seeing in full, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. So what did we hear? We heard Playing in the Band, The Wheel, and Iko, all in rapid succession in no rush. They nice stretched out everything really, really beautifully. Then It Hurts Me Too. Is that new? They've done it a couple times, right?
Yeah, they've been doing that over the years, but first of the tour.
Okay. Nice. Ramble on Rose, Brown Eyed Women, and Let It Grow. There was a popular demand for Let It Grow here in our living room again, and it was very nicely satisfied telepathically by Bob, who read our minds and answered our request.
He has a way of doing that. I was really happy to hear Iko. I took it as an expression of solidarity with the indomitable spirit of New Orleans in very difficult times. And the jam out of the wheel, or in the middle of the wheel rather, another example of that thing of creating new compositional moments. Jeff Cometti came up with this new chord sequence, and the rest of the band locked into it, and it was just beautiful. But hey, we want to talk about this with our guest as well, because he's a fan and someone very involved in this music. So David, why don't you do the honors of introducing him?
Well, let's bring in my friend and yours, Mark Pinkus. He's the president of Rhino. He's the executive producer on all these amazing boxed sets we've been getting out of Rhino in recent years. And he's been a fan of the Grateful Dead since 1983. And he and I have been corresponding for many, many years, long before he became the boss over there. Please welcome Mark Pinkus to the Set Break Schmooze. Hi, Mark.
Hey, guys. Hey, Gary. Hey, David.
You've grown your hair since I saw you last.
This is what a pandemic will do. You stay in, you don't shave, you don't cut your hair, you just work and listen to good music.
Not a bad way to live. Well, it's great to see you, Mark, in your new look, and so glad you could join us. You have been such an integral part of getting this music out to the people. You and I have worked together for a bunch of years now, so productively and so happily. So let's talk a little bit about your Grateful Dead passion, where it started and how it led you to where you are now.
Started in 1983. It started with a girl, the way most good stories do. Hillary Savinar, she had a poster above her bed. I said, "What band is that?" She goes, "You don't know who that is?" And I didn't recognize them. It's the picture where they're sitting in the barn on haystacks, and they look like this country band. I'm like, "I don't know who that is." And she goes, "That's the Grateful Dead." I went straight to Tower Records. They had one record under G back in 1983. It was Skeletons from the Closet. Listened to it, loved it. Went and saw them, Berkeley Greek, 1984. They played no songs from Skeletons from the Closet, and I realized that's my band. They don't play anything off of this hits package, which isn't even really a hits package, and been on the bus ever since. So it's where it all began.
Great.
Well, how did you go from being a fan of the music to getting into the music business and winding up as the president of Rhino? I mean, that's quite a career trajectory, and it's great as a fan of this music to know that the guy in charge loves the music as much as we do.
Well, I was like most of us in the music business, we're on the business side because we can't sing or play guitar well enough. And I really can't. Some people are actually almost at the right level. I really miss it. But I started at Rhino back in 1992. Grateful Dead made a deal with Rhino, giving us the catalog around '06. And I was just sitting there the first couple of years as a fan. And then we just had some personnel changes. And in 2010, my boss at the time, Kevin Gore, came to me and said, "You're the biggest fan here. You know what you're doing. Why don't you run this business?" And here we are.
You mean they put you in charge of the whole of Rhino because you're a Grateful Dead fan? That's a great qualification.
No, first they put me in charge of the Grateful Dead, and then 5 years, I became president 4 years after. But that would have been a good reason enough, I think.
From our standpoint, sure.
Well, it's also, we talked the other day with Don Was, and he talked about, he's now president of Blue Note Records. And he said back when he was a musician, there was always the opinion, oh, the record company is the enemy, and now he's the president of a record company, and he realizes that all the people in-house are people who just absolutely love music, a lot of young people, boundless enthusiasm, who want to get the music out to people with the most integrity possible. And I've got to say, the team at Rhino really exemplifies that. It's kind of ironic that the Grateful Dead returned to the umbrella of Warner Music, because that's where the Dead started their recording career and had a famously contentious relationship and went off and were going to completely run things on their own. And after a couple of record companies later, they wind back at Warner's. But Rhino in particular is the ideal setting for the post-Grateful Dead history, because Rhino has a reputation as maybe the best curatorial record company in terms of putting out reissues, beautifully designed and assembled box sets and all that, and people say, the physical record is a thing of the past, but Rhino really defies that by putting out these beautiful packages, and so it's a wonderful place for the Grateful Dead to be.
Yeah, we just did a Deja Vu 50th anniversary. We're in the middle of a Joni Mitchell campaign. So yes, we're not here to talk about other great artists, but we very much believe the physical business is alive and it's going very well. But I think to Don Was's, because I thought that Don Was comment was really interesting, how he thought that the labels were evil until he realized that it's filled with a bunch of fans. And that's how that Europe 72 box set, which I hope you both have, the 73 disc complete box set. It was David Lemieux and I talking, and David's like, "There's one project I'd really like to do." And he goes, "I want to do complete Europe 72. And I'm like, "Great, we're doing it." He goes, "Is it that easy?" And I'm like, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "I want to do it." And we did it. And there we are. So it was fans deciding what to do.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Pacific Northwest box set. Gary was talking about the amazing packaging. That in particular has just a beautiful box. It very often shows up in the background of Gary's live streams. I don't know if it's there right now, but I've seen it in the past. I love that one, but I love these that you and David Lemieux have come up with some really lovely ideas for box sets. The Pacific Northwest box set, 6 complete shows from Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver over 2 amazing years. That's a great concept for a record. And then our box set, and the new one you've offering up now is the St. Louis one, same deal. Several shows from one city in a particularly great period for the band. These are really good ideas for how to present this music. And I've often thought, I'm really, it's amazing to me how you guys have figured out how to chart a path through a ridiculously huge collection of stuff that sort of defies organization.
Yeah, I really tip my hat to David as the archivist. It is a whole team, but these creative ideas do come from him. But I think one of the great things about the Dead is if you took a band and said, okay, do a 71, 72, and 73 tour, it'll probably sound very similar. Here you're going to have shows, it's 20 discs, it's going to be shows that are night to night sound different, and year to year, it almost sounds like an entirely different band. The fact that it's such a rich time of when the band was changing, so it's going to be a special box.
Yeah, very much.
Another thing that Rhino has done that I really admire and respect is continued a long-standing Grateful Dead tradition of treating the fans like not just customers but a community. Through things like Shakedown Stream, which I was very happy to participate last year, and continuing the tradition of the Grateful Dead Almanac and keeping in touch with the fans. And one of the most amazing things recently was the good old Grateful Dead cast. One of the best podcasts I've ever heard, so deep into Grateful Dead history, and I'm sure you're very proud of that as well.
Yeah, I'm both proud of it, and I absolutely love listening to it. They used to give me an advance one a couple of days before, but now I like to listen to it the same way a fan would. When it goes live, when I get that email, I jump in, I take a walk, and you really listen and you learn something every time. And thank you to both of you for your participation in being interviewed in it. But it's great. I'm really proud of that podcast.
You should be, because the scholarship, Jesse Jarnow is like the perfect guy to do it, and you guys gave him and Rich Mahan the tools to go out there. I remember sitting for that interview a couple of years ago, and they just collected a huge amount of information and organized it brilliantly. And one of my only regrets about not being able to go on tour through this whole pandemic thing is that's when I got most of my listening done. And I have not heard all the podcasts yet because I don't spend enough time in my car. But every one that I've heard has just been so deep and so amazing. And that's something that a record company pays and gives away for free as a way to get people interested in this music. And that's a smart thing to do, but this particular one is so informative and so deep, and it helps shine a light on the complexity and the depth of this whole culture. It encourages people to come in and learn more about it, I think.
Right, and it's interesting you talk about us giving away the podcast, because somebody asked me, what exactly is your economic model there? You pay for it and then you give it away. I equated it a bit to when the Dead used to let people with the taper section, and the way that people being able to tape it, share the tapes, and then all of a sudden, we used to love sending out blank tapes and getting that cardboard box back with tapes and all the Dead Hour shows that I still have on tape. But with the podcast, that's what's happening. It's turning people on. They understand what makes that Grateful Dead Skull and Roses such an important album. What the Working Man Dead, American Beauty one just gave you context for it, and that's what especially the younger fans need.
Yeah, and there are younger fans all the time. This is one of the really amazing and gratifying aspects of this post-Grateful Dead world is we hear from people who were not yet born when Jerry was around. We got phone calls on our radio show from 7-year-old fans and people in their teens or early 20s. And this is such a self-renewing thing, both with the music continuing and finding new ways to express itself, and with new people coming into the audience. And that's really great.
Right. I felt like when I started seeing shows in the 80s, I didn't feel like it was an oldies band. I was 17 years old. And now you see, again, the 17-year-olds, my 3 daughters between the ages of 20 and 26, they love this band. They listen all the time. It's not just when they're stuck with dad. So it's real nice.
Yeah, we're into the 4th generation of Deadheads now. I mean, I know lots and lots of literally great grandchildren of the original Deadheads at this point. And it's so gratifying. As Gary said, we get calls from these people. And in my life, I get to go out and play music with people who are in their 20s and deeply, deeply into this music. And we knew long ago that this music and the culture was going to outlive the people who created it. So I guess what we're doing here is thanking you for your excellent stewardship of all of that.
Well, it is absolutely a pleasure. It's one of those jobs that if I wasn't getting paid, I would pay to do it. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
We know that Rhino keeps things close to the vest as far as future releases and stuff like that, but anything on the horizon you might want to at least give a tiny hint about?
Well, I would tell you that we are in the middle of talking about the 2022 release schedule, and we've been doing 50th anniversaries for the last couple of years. So you can imagine what we'll be what year will be celebrated properly next year.
Okay, but that's an interesting prospect because the complete Europe 72 tour has already been released. So what do you do to enhance the 50th anniversary edition of Europe 72? That's a fascinating. Now I'm curious about how you're going to do that. I love it.
That's what took a lot of people sitting around a room and said, wait, did we do everything? And we got something fun coming.
Oh, good.
Well, whenever Rhino promises something like that, it always seems to pay off, because I'm, even as kind of an insider and someone who's in touch with everyone at Rhino, things come out that just blow my mind. Like the St. Louis box, for example, was not one, I would have thought of. And I really didn't know about it until its release was pretty imminent. So these things come as like wonderful surprise packages for all of us, including those of us who are a little bit connected. And I love that.
We should also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we should also remind people that the Dave's Picks subscription series, it's very hard to get them if you're not a subscriber because they tend to sell out so quickly. And so be on the lookout for the announcement because they go on sale, toward the end of the year, right after the first of the year. You can subscribe to the season and you get 4 amazing complete concert releases. And it's kind of like the only way to get them, plus a bonus disc, is to sign up for the Dave's Picks subscription, because what few or single copies are sold tend to sell out immediately. So my advice is to subscribe.
Yeah, we keep increasing the subscription. We've announced a couple of years ago that we're going to stop it at 25,000. So, each year we get more and more subscribers. So yeah, there's very few a la carte units, but it's one of those things where non-deadheads are like, wait, you charge somebody $100 for 4 shows, 3 discs, plus the bonus disc, and they don't know what they're going to get? I'm like, they know they're going to get a Grateful Dead show. What else do they need to know? And that's, again, the great thing about this band is people sign up sort of sight unseen. They tend to know what the first show is, and some years we'll reveal the second show. But it's great. I love it. I love every 3 months getting a new Grateful Dead show. And
it's very consistent. It's very consistent with the concept of going to a Grateful Dead show. You don't know, like you at your first show with Skeletons in the Closet is your only point of reference. You're not going to get the songs you think you want to hear. You might hear something that you've never heard before, or you may hear something you've heard before played in a completely different way. So the Dave's Picks surprise factor is very much in keeping with that, I think.
Yeah, and it's amazing. This one that just came out, the Philadelphia Dave's Picks 39. It's our first Shakedown Street. 39 shows we've released, and we didn't get to Shakedown Street until volume 39. So it's just interesting. You just don't know what's going to come.
It's about damn time. In case you just joined us, Mark Pinkus is the president of Rhino Records and the executive producer of these amazing box sets we've been getting from Dead.net. And he's been a fan since 1983. And I also need to remind you that what we're doing here is participating in the free sample of Nugs.net's live stream of Dead and Company. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you have the option. You're going to see the first song of the set for free as part of this thing. But if you like it and you want to sign up for the whole thing, you can go to livedead.co and buy the stream. And when you do that, you have 48 hours to watch it as many times as you want to. And that means you can go back and watch the first set, which you might have missed if you just got here. There's other stuff going on that Nugsnet wants you to know about, like, for example, a subscription service and things like that. And you can go to nugs.net for more information. You can go to livedead.co for more information. But we're going to go back to talking with Mark Pinkus right now because we have a few minutes left before the band returns to the stage.
Right. We're told they're inching back toward the stage, which is always a suspenseful process. But Mark, have you been you've been checking out some of these Dead and Company? Oh, sure. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys a question about the first set. Did you think that they were going to open with the wheel as opposed to playing in the band? Did you hear the wheel there?
Yes, I think.
No,
I think that was
it was field, but I knew they weren't going to do that because what they do, this is one of those Bobby things these days, is they'll start a jam in one key, and then on cue, they'll all kick it up into the next, like they do that on Hell in a Bucket, which is in B. They start a jam in a different key, and then they shift into the song. So it's a way of keeping them, from not playing this like the same kind of vibe every time. So it was sort of quasi-deceptive. They were doing a wheel-ish jam, but I knew they weren't going to start with the wheel because I knew they were going to shift into something else. But I was really happy to hear the playing of the band into the wheel sequence because they did that a bunch of times in '76, and it was really killer.
Okay. Hey, Mark, we're told we have to say goodbye to you because the band is just about at that moment. It's so great to see you. Maybe we'll see you in Mexico in January?
Oh, you'll see me in Mexico. Can't wait.
Oh, good.
I'll be there. Can't wait.
Great to see you, Mark.
Thanks so much. Take care. All right.
And now we vamp.
What?
That was lovely.
Now we vamp. Yeah, always great to see Mark. So much great stuff has come out of Rhino since they forged this relationship with the Grateful Dead, and especially under Mark's guidance and his work with David Lemieux and that incredible team there. So gratitude to all of them. And
my bookcase and my record rack are full of amazing items from those people. Remember, they would do things like compilations of like the worst records ever made, which came with it was like the vinyl record came with a trash bag in it. And then there was a compilation of the saddest songs ever, and that one came with some Kleenex hanging out the front of it. They had lovely, fun stuff like that back in the day,
Right. And in fact, the design of a lot of the packages is one of the great features for buying physical music again. I think it was the year before last, their design department won the Grammy for a Weird Al Yankovic box set, which was shaped like an accordion. So can't beat that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're waiting for the band to get back on stage. We hear that most of them are back. They have a majority, but they don't go on. They don't go on if they just have a quorum. They have to actually have the whole band present.
They need unanimity, I think, to acquit the sound guy. I want to give a shout out to the Grateful Dead subreddit. Those guys have a live chat going, a set list thread that's kind of fun over there. I mean, they snark at us a little bit, but it's nothing serious. And we're in the process of planning to do a joint AMA over there on Reddit sometime soon. That should be fun as well.
Right. Getting snarked at is a badge of honor in the Grateful Dead world. Just ask the band members.
And anybody who ever visited rec.music.gdead.
Ouch. All right. We are waiting for the band to take the stage. Once again, this is all six are on stage, but we haven't gotten the light signal yet. This is Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. We're on for every night of the tour, doing this for nugs.net, encouraging you to buy that stream or subsequent shows. And once again, this show is a fine example of why you might want to consider doing that.
I agree. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here and let you all know that I perform live online every day on Facebook on my D. Gans music page. It's 4:00 California time on the days when there isn't a Dead & Company show, and it's earlier in the day when there is a Dead & Company show, so that I can be done in time to do this on Facebook.com/DGansMusic. I've been doing it since last April.
And as long as we're mentioning other enterprises, David and I co-host Tales from the Golden Road on SiriusXM Radio every Sunday for 13 plus years. And SiriusXM now has a deal with Rhino. SiriusXM has this platinum subscription with Rhino. I said with Rhino, I meant with Nugsnet. SiriusXM, too many companies, too much synergy going on for me to keep track of. But anyway, there is this platinum SiriusXM package that also allows you to access nugs.net material. So what could be better? What could be better would be the band being on stage. That's what would be better. But we're still waiting for the lights to go down.
My dinner is being delivered as we speak, so I'm definitely ready to be done with this right now.
And I ate dinner a while ago, so I'm ready to dance. But anyway, so let's hope for those lights. one thing you have to say about this show, we have the most abrupt endings in show business. When they say lights, we're gone. So we may be
We don't
lights.
have to, but the lights have been done.
But
So
lights,
thank you, everybody,
lights.
for your kind attention. We'll see you soon.